All right. All right. Today is the 26th of October, 2024, and today is Cincinnati Day. Cincinnati, I've been looking forward to this game for a while now, not because I thought that it was, one of the marquee games of the year, and it actually turns out that it is, which is a great deal. But I lived in Cincinnati for about a year or 2 years, and really that's the city that I proposed to my wife in. And there's a lot of really special things about Cincinnati for our family, just because we really loved it there. It's a great city, great people, lots of stuff to do. It's really centrally located. You can get to the East Coast really well, um, and the culture there is kind of a mix of a lot of things. So it was really neat to be there. And so having Cincinnati come to Folsom, I don't know why, just some kind of nostalgia there. But and in a previous video, actually a previous live, I talked about, you see all the Skyline Chili shirts, and you may see some today at the game, because that's kind of like some of Cincinnati's notoriety. And if you haven't heard of Skyline Chili before, it's really just a fast food restaurant that serves chili on top of pasta. And so it's like spaghetti with chili on it. Unique, definitely. Creative, probably not so much. It's East Coast chili, which is really bland chili. Not a big fan of not a big fan of Skyline. Pretty much just went there for the notoriety of it. But anyway, I digress. That has nothing to do with football. But I'm assuming that maybe Cincinnati is going to play as bland as the chili on Skyline Chili's pasta. We'll just put it that way. So, who do we have in the chat today? Who do we have in the chat? I'm going to call you guys out here in just a minute. This live is basically a pregame. I'm getting ready to head down to the stadium, or down to the campus. We're going to stop for some German food and have some Warsteiner and stuff like that. Have a good pregame meal, because we probably won't eat at the stadium. It's going to be a late game, obviously. So German food for us is always a go-to, because we can get filled up pretty easy, and we love pretzels and cheese and beer. So, and we are German, or at least I am. I'm German, so by heritage anyway. So, in any case, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go over the timeline. So, the timeline that is at Folsom Field. We're going to talk about when all the events are. I've got a graphic for you. We're going to talk about the game a little bit. You've watched a lot of pre-games, I'm sure, and we did a pre-game live as well the other day. But we're going to mention some points in that. And then at the end, I'll talk about my live schedule today. I upgraded my phone a little bit so that maybe we can get the lives to be a little clearer. So hopefully the Buff Walk and inside the stadium and the post-game show and all that stuff that we're going to be doing today will come a little bit clearer to you. So let's go to the chat real quick. And we've got Miss Erin Willith. I mean, Erin is an OG subscriber to Alpine Garage Sports. Erin, I appreciate you very much. Erin says, good afternoon, Chris. How are you today? I'm having a great day. It's a beautiful day here in Colorado. All over the state, it's going to be in the mid 60s all day, which is beautiful for the end of October here. And then this evening, it's going to be crisp. So by the time kickoff hits, I'll bet you we are in the high 40s, low 30, or I'm sorry, low 50s. Low 50s for kickoff. Will probably end in the high 40s. We have got a cold front coming through. It's actually supposed to be a little bit of snow on Wednesday. So back to what we kind of consider to be an up and down fall here in Colorado, where one day it's beautiful, the next day it could be a little bit snowy, but for the most part, it's just beautiful blue skies. Hopefully we'll get a great sunset tonight, like we did in the previous home game. I got a really good live shot of that, and I'm hoping to get another one tonight as well, so we can get the pink kind of haze on the flat irons and get a good shot of that. So it's just such a beautiful day. There's almost no wind. Like, I'm looking out of the garage here, and I see maybe one leaf rustling. So just an absolutely gorgeous day here in Colorado. Mac says, good morning. You headed there? Or are you chilling? I am chilling right now, Mac. I'm chilling right now with a pregame beer, but I'll be headed to the stadium right after this. Hey, Mac, it's game day, says Miss Aaron. Freddie D is in the house. Hey, Freddie, another OG subscriber. Let's see, Mac. I'm watching Nebraska versus Ohio game now. They are struggling. CU definitely can beat both teams. Right now, I would not doubt that, Mac. I would actually say that on any given Saturday, anybody can beat anybody. But I'm really feeling good. I'm feeling strong about Colorado. We're getting our confidence going, and that's making a big difference for us in these games. Like, we can lean on the fact that we know that Shedeur can get us out of a pinch if we need him to do so. And he's done it for us, obviously, in the past, and there's no reason why he can't. And our defense is always going to come through. I say always. Our defense now is going to come through for us when we need them. Max says, Aaron, I'm already on the wine. Good for you. It's Saturday. Enjoy yourselves, guys. Miss Aaron is watching Virginia Tech. Freddie, one of those recruits was steaming, I'm assuming streaming on Instagram, and had Juju on with him. They said they're coming. If there's anything to read into that, I think that the overwhelming consensus is right now is that we are going to get Juju, and that Juju, like probably any young man in his case right now, I guess he's kind of got the world at his fingertips, and he can take his time. He doesn't need to rush this. Having every school in America courting you is a enviable position for any college or high school football athlete. So why not just relax and enjoy it? And, we would love for Juju to commit today, because obviously that's going to mean a lot for recruiting. And if everybody 100% knew that Juju was coming, we would land 4 and 5 stars daily 4 and 5 stars if we could get Juju to commit. What a great day to get bowl eligible, Jay Boogie. Nice job. I like that. Today is bowl eligible day. We can get that out of the way because that's coming 100%. And Miss Peggy is going to absolutely love that. And then we can kind of continue to focus on winning every game, because the Big 12 championship it's not slipped through our hands. We don't have control of it, but we are in control of our own destiny, meaning we can actually win these games. Let's see. Max says Alpine Juju is in Boulder right now. He is. Juju is there. Hopefully I'll run into him today. He's going to be BMOC today, and there's probably going to be a giant crowd around him regardless of where he goes. So that'll be kind of fun. Joe Perry says, will you be at the game? Of course I will, Joe. I'm at every game all the time. In fact, I'm going to tell you about my live schedule today. So I'm going to go live probably 4 or 5 times. And at the end of the show, I'm going to let you know what times I'm going live. I'm going to post those on my YouTube channel so you can see the live streams and the times, and you can actually hit your notification on those and join me as well. Dennis says, let's imagine what today would look like if Coach Prime wasn't hired. Yes, Dennis, if you are in Colorado, or if you're a Colorado Buff fan, I can tell you what today would be like. We would have probably hired a no-name coach if we hadn't hired Coach Prime, and we would still be in obscurity right now. In fact, who knows? We might not even be in the Big 12, guys. The Big 12 may not even have picked us up. We might be one of those, slim Pac-12 schools still, and then that would be obviously very horrible. But it's always a good time in Boulder, regardless of whether we're winning or losing. It's always a good time in Boulder. We always have a great time at the games, and that wouldn't have changed. It would be a lot more relaxed for me because I wouldn't be going live with you guys. I would just be hanging out at tailgates and drinking a lot of beer and having a good time. But now I get to go live with y'all, and that makes it a heightened sense of fun because I get to see your reactions along with the reactions of the folks that are already there. So we have that. Hit those likes, Max says. Hit those likes. All right. Well, while we're in here, let's look at today's event. So let me pull up the screen here and today's timeline. So obviously today the game starts at 8:15, and that's going to be a great evening game. 2 o'clock parking lots open. So all the parking lots open at 2. You can actually sneak in the parking garage right off of Colorado. And what is that? It's not Euclid. It's anyway, there's parking garage there that's open pretty much all the time. So if you wanted to get there a little earlier, just hit the parking garage and you can park early. Fan Fest opens at 5. I took you guys to Fan Fest last week, and I'm going to take you again this week as well. Fan Fest is kind of like our official tailgate area. For most people is going to be Franklin Field. That's where the Buff Walk is, and that's where the Buffs practice, right outside of the IPF. And that's the official like tailgate area. And then we also have an official like pregame area, which is called Fan Fest, and there's lots of giveaways and there's beer there and food there and games for kids, and they have the pregame show there for the Colorado Buffaloes and stuff like that. So we'll take you to that. That opens at 5. At 5:30, the student gate opens. CU student gate opens at 5:30, and that's always a scrum. So you have, the entire student section piling in all at one time. And then 5:45 is the Buff Walk, which we will be there. And I'm going to get there a little early so that we can get even a better place than we did last time. I got there late. 6 o'clock, Folsom Field gates open. And so they're going to be opening 2 hours and 15 minutes. So you can go in there and you can chill out, watch the team come and go as they come out for warm-ups and things like that. See the celebrities and the recruits and stuff like that come and go. And I'm going to be down at field level or on the lowest level of the stands, probably about 7 o'clock tonight. And I'll go through that here in just a little bit so I can get you a little bit closer footage than I have in the past. At 7:50, we hit the national anthem. At 8 o'clock, Ralphie runs. And at 8:15, we have the kickoff. So that is your pregame right there. They have on the pregame site, they have Cheer Like Peggy and then a bunch of other stuff. But it's always a fun time in Boulder for a football game. For those of you who go to other football games, I've been to a lot of college football games, and they're all fun and they all have a different tailgate vibe. OU has a significantly different tailgate vibe than CU does. But CU has something special. CU has not only the best weather in college football at all times of the year, but it also has probably the best ambiance pregame wise, because of the different activities that are going on around the best looking campus in America with the best looking view in America. So you don't even have to go to any of these. You can stay at one tailgate. You can sit in your car if you wanted to, and you'd have a better pregame experience than virtually anybody else. Let's see who we have in here. Jay Boogie says it's a big recruiting weekend. There should be around 30 recruits in town. They're piled in here, guys. We have a lot of new commits as well this week, so they're really starting to flood in. Mo Cushing says, "What up at Alpine Garage Sports?" Hey Mo, how you doing today? Mo, it's funny. I don't know what your name is, but I have named all of my pets and all of my kids after things in Colorado and ski areas and alpine like mountain names and stuff like that. And I don't even know why I'm going down this road, but Mo, I almost named my daughter. I say I almost named my daughter. My wife fought me and we didn't name my daughter Mosley, but Johnny Mosley, the Olympic skier that won gold in, I think it was like 98 or something like that. But I wanted to, if we were going to have a boy, I was going to name him Mosley. And we ended up having a girl, and we couldn't call her Mosley. We couldn't call her Mo. I want to say, hey, Mo. So there you go, Mo. That's my story on Mo. RJ says game day 53 watching. Thanks guys. Appreciate it, guys. Freddie D says, what's the game temperature for kickoff? I want to say it's going to be probably about 53 degrees at kickoff. So in the fall, we get these nice warm days like today is going to be 65 to 70. But as soon as that sun hits the horizon, as soon as it hits the mountains, because in most cities, you have the horizon is basically really low, right? So you have the sun most of the way through when your sunset is. But in Colorado, especially when you're close to the Front Range, like Boulder, the sun actually sets, meaning it doesn't shine on you, way earlier than on almost any other day or in any other city. So it gets cold fast. As soon as that sun, that radiant heat goes away, it gets cold quick. I say it gets cold quick. It gets cooler quicker. I don't want to make it sound like it's cold because it's not cold. Shake hands with Destiny is here. GM Folsom Field will be lit. 12th man. We are going to make a lot of noise today. Let's see. Shirley Kimball says, thank you for all you do. Blessings to you and safe travels. Thank you very much. Night games are the best. Freddie D says Carday, Smith, and Juju will be on Instagram together. This kind of marketing that Juju and Carday and all these other guys are going to be doing is I think just as good as some of the game day footage on national television, because they are speaking directly to other recruits, and not only other recruits for the 2025 year, but also these young kids that are playing in grade school and, maybe on a JV team or sitting out on the bench on a varsity team as a junior or as a freshman or sophomore that are coming up, and they're seeing this, and it's being drilled in at a young age. And when they get old enough to commit, these great players, which is 2 or 3 years from now, in a lot of cases, sometimes 4 or 5 years, this live stream that you see here from some of these players that are coming in, some of these commits, and some of these, really highly ranked high school players, is gold for us. It is absolute gold. Let's see, Mac. Alpine, I see that cup. You are ready. Yes, I am. I am always ready. Saturdays during game day, man, I can't be any happier. Let's see. It comes off of the mountains. Oh, okay. Mo says MO is my initials. Okay. It comes off the mountains. That's right, Mac. Per Johnny Cash, it's Folsom Prison Blues for Cincinnati. Yeah, lock them up in Folsom Prison and do not let them out. We need some upsets to happen today to get us in a better position to play in the Big 12 paddle game. We do. And, it's not up to us at this point, meaning we still have to win all of our games, but we need some of the other teams to fold flat. And, BYU and Iowa State, BYU and Iowa State are primed for a loss. I don't think they're going to go the entire season without a loss. I think there's going to be an upset in there. And if it is, we still need probably more than that. But let's start with one upset, and then we'll kind of parlay down the road there just a little bit. I did want to mention, for those of you who are right now, we've got 68 in the chat, guys. For those of you who have been following my channel for a while, we started this channel in January of 23. So right after, actually it was December of 23, right after Prime was hired. I was on my way back from Vail, Colorado on a ski trip. And I had heard, we had heard rumblings that Coach Prime was coming, but I wasn't convinced. And my daughter was a freshman at CU, and the excitement coming back in the late at night from Vail, from a ski trip that he had committed and he was on his way to Boulder, was like, it made my mind explode. I already have a channel called Alpine Garage. It's just called Alpine Garage. And I actually restore cars and motorcycles. And I've been doing that for years. And I thought, I've always wanted to do a CU channel, but I just didn't think I had the time to do both, plus my regular job. And I thought, I need to do this. I've always thought this was fun, and I'm going to do it. So I started this channel, and it's been nothing but a good time. My daughter graduated last May from CU. She graduated a year early, and she's a biomedical sciences major. She was, and the search after that, after graduating, is intense, right? I think anybody that's had to do that, what that is. Where she landed? She is actually working for the University of Colorado right now in the same lab that she was in as a undergrad. And her lab looks into Folsom Field. So I will show you guys tonight. I will actually zoom into her window there that she's going to be working in her lab. But they have a little patio that literally looks straight into the stadium. It's right next door. And so, yes, proud dad. Every every time I every time I'm in the stadium, I know my daughter's going to be in there, probably working, I would imagine. So she's going to be working some Saturdays. But in any case, I wanted to let you guys know that you guys are like my extended family, and you've been cheering for us all along, and I appreciate that. Go UCF and go Kansas. I agree. And UCF and Kansas, they can step up. They will step up in these games. Um, Aaron, we need that, and K State to lose also, says Mac. Aaron, yes, I certainly agree with you, Mac. Mac says, congratulations, Alpine. I appreciate that, guys. We are a proud family right now. Good morning, fam. Congrats, Chris. Hey, what's up, James Bond? Welcome back to the channel. James is also, there are a few of you in here. Actually, I think probably most of you in here I would consider to be close friends from a perspective of we talk all the time through this. James Bond is one of those. We've had some offline chats that have been pretty eye opening, and I consider him a good friend. This is a proud dad moment. Yeah, David, thanks for coming in. Yeah, proud dad moment. Today is a good day. I'm just going to say today is a good day. We move her into her new apartment tomorrow in Boulder, and so she's close, and I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. Navy is getting crushed. One spot opening in the top 25. I went. I don't know if you guys want to know everything about me, but I was a Catholic schoolboy growing up, and I was in Catholic schools practically my entire life. And so, although I was a diehard CU fan and a diehard OU fan, I also was a diehard Notre Dame fan and kind of still am a little bit, just because I think you get the obvious connection there. And I saw Navy. My grandfather was an admiral in the Navy. And so I've always been kind of a Navy fan too, because he was a huge Navy fan. And now you have Navy and Notre Dame being in the top 25. And it's a big game for me, although I'm not watching it right now. And I didn't know who to root for, so I'm just not watching it. But thanks for that update. Uh, Jay Boogie says, if Coach Prime wins, becomes bowl eligible, get CU ranked, and lands Juju, he will be definitely need a new contract. I agree. Um, this is a big year for Coach Prime. And I think most of us knew that that was going to happen, but there was a lot of obviously doubters out there. Myself personally, I didn't know if it was going to take 2 or 3 years to do it, but I knew at some point he would do it, just because he is a good coach. He attracts a lot of attention, and attention draws a lot of good things. Like they say, any media is good media, or any eyes on you is good, as long as you can turn it into something good. And he's great at doing that. So good on him. And couldn't be prouder to be a CU buff right now. Go Vandy. Up the SCO. Smuggles is in the house. Shake hands with Destiny. Do you think we will hear or see from Miss Peggy with a win tonight? I do think so. In fact, I think probably I wouldn't doubt it if we won tonight, if Coach Prime works out that Peggy is in the post-game interviews. That would be really, really epic. VHF says, does Iowa State have a bye this week? I think they do, actually, now that you're saying that. Yes, Iowa State's on bye. That's right. Thank you for your content. I'm in California. Thumbs up for your channel. Appreciate that. Max says, I was a diehard Alabama fan, but now I'm a CU. That's wild. That is wild. That is wild. It's really weird to see like Alabama fans kind of jumping off their I say bandwagon because I don't know that Alabama is a bandwagon. It's been a concrete institution for a long time. But let's go through some of the pregame stuff. If you guys didn't catch my pregame live about Cincinnati, I got a lot of flack for saying that the teams are very, I guess you could say, well matched between us and Cincinnati. I got a lot of like, how dare you give Cincinnati any positive feedback and stuff like that. And I say a lot. I didn't get a lot. I got some. And there are people that I don't normally have conversations with. But that got me thinking about it and thought, am I too like neutral? Because I'm a pretty neutral guy. I mean, you'll see me get animated and then I hate certain things, but I'm not really a hate guy. Like I don't hate any team really because I just like football. I love football. And even a team that I wouldn't normally watch, let me think of a team that I wouldn't normally watch. I wouldn't normally watch UCLA. Okay. Outside of Troy Aikman, um, I probably wouldn't watch a UCLA game, but I don't dislike UCLA. I mean, they have gold helmets. I mean, gold helmets are great, right? But when I'm thinking about our opponents, even Nebraska, that's a pretty good one. I don't know why I didn't think of Nebraska. Um, I have a lot of extended family. My wife's family are Nebraska fans. Like the entirety of my wife's family are Nebraska fans. And so to hate Nebraska for me is fun because then I can kind of jab my in-laws. But at the same time, I respect the school, especially now that they've got a new coach and they're doing well in recruiting and things like that. I just like to see teams go from nothing to something. I like to see coaching. I like to see good coaching. And I like to see good players. And I like to see them turn around a program. And that to me is more fun than just an absolute hatred of something. So I digress. I go back to Cincinnati. I don't hate Cincinnati. I don't really think anything of Cincinnati other than to live there for a while. But to give them credit for being a team that is 5-2 right now, I don't understand how that's a bad thing. So that said, looking at their team, when I say they're well matched to us, what I mean is that both coaches are in their second years in the same school. Okay, so they're in their year 2 in the school that they're in. They both were had lackluster years in their first year. Coach Prime was 4-8, and Satterfield was I think 3-9, something like that. So they both had, I say, disappointing first years, even though I don't want to call last year disappointing because we had some really awesome things happen. But the media wanted us to go, 10-2. So we started out the same way. And then in this year, we're 5-2. So we're almost identical both years. Made some big changes in the offseason to both programs in order to make the team better. So when you're talking about from a coaching perspective and a recruiting perspective, both teams have done what they need to do to be in a good spot in this game and to make this game great for us. If Cincinnati was 1-6, this would not be an exciting game. The fact that they're 5-2 makes it an exciting game. And what do you guys have to say about that? Jay Boogie says, I watched some of Cincinnati games and they're playing their butts off. That's one thing about the Cincinnati team is they're a very disciplined team. I want to say I made they're one of their stats is that they're number 11 in fewest penalties in the country, which is exceptional. If you think about 7 games in, they are number 11, which means in order to be in that top 25 in this category, you have to be consistent every game with being clean, having clean play. And by doing that, you almost forcing the other team to lose the game on their own, meaning they're going to get penalties, they're going to make mistakes, and they slowly bleed them out and they win the game. So not saying they don't have the talent, but that low penalties number is a big deal. And I kind of keep that with time of possession. Those are two things that are key elements in football that take discipline in order to know, like, time of possession is a big deal. It's my number one factor in football. If you have the ball, you own the game. If you give the ball to the other team, you don't own the game anymore. Unless your defense is shut lights out, and teams will figure out a way to get around any defense, okay? If you have the ball, you own the game. And so time of possession to me is key. Lack of penalties is even better. Penalties are one of those things, you want to play a clean game and you want to get away with what you can get away with. I mean, is cheating part of football? I don't know. A mild hold here or there to keep your quarterback from getting sacked 6 times and it's not called. Is that a crime? So, but at the same time, if you can keep the gross penalties down to a minimum, meaning the stuff that you're going to get called on, then you're considered playing clean. At that point, you're not giving away the game. Um, and that's what I have to say about that particular stat. And that's one thing I will say about Cincinnati. Now, Colorado this year, so markedly better in that penalty thing. So markedly better. We have less major killing penalties this year than we did last year. Last year was just every game, it was like, oh man, your heart would stop. Every time the whistle blew, it was like, or you saw a flag, it was like, oh crap, here we go. 15 yards, 15 yards, 15 yards. This year, it's not like that at all. It feels so much better. Shake Hands with Destiny says Cincinnati definitely a good team, but we got to play our best ball to win. KR says, I think the run defense isn't seen much. If CU adjusts fast, we're good. If not, I'm sorry, guys. My eyesight's terrible, and I should be wearing reading glasses, but I don't have them on. If not, might be uncomfortable and close. Cincinnati's weakness is the secondary, says TJ. I agree. I think we can exploit that secondary pretty good. VHF says Cincinnati has a good team. This will not be a cakewalk. I agree. On the East Coast, really going to try to stay up. Holy mackerel. Yeah. So, Carl, if you're on the East Coast, those interviews are going to be like it. What is that going to be for you? Like 2:00 in the morning for the post-game interviews? Didi Bus says, thanks, brother. Watching TV tonight. Had to sell seats. Oh, that's too bad. Got a lead service tomorrow. Well, I'm glad that priority is in order for you. That's good. But anyway, so back to the game. We've got 96 in the chat. So I'm going to talk about the game just a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about when I'm going to be live today. And then I'm going to go and eat some German food and be at the campus in about an hour or so after we eat. Cincinnati, Brendan Sorsby, 67.2%. Not super accurate with his throwing, but you can tell one of the things that they're good at is they're good in their short game passing. It's their long game passing that really kills him. They're not very good with the long pass, but they can keep that time of possession by keeping the passes short, doing a lot of screens and things like that. Let's see, they averaged 34 passes to 35 rushes, and this was my key to the game for them, or for us, considering the fact that we're playing Cincinnati. They're a very balanced team. They don't run the ball excessively, and they don't throw the ball excessively. And because of that, it makes them very hard to defend from that standpoint, because we know it's going to be primarily a short game for them, meaning they're either going to run or going to throw short. So we can pull the defense in just a little bit probably, but we don't know where the ball is going to go. They use the tight end a lot. And so when you're talking about pure balance, the thing that I keep talking about for the University of Colorado, one of the things that we're lacking is we lack tight end play. Is that something that's hurt us so far? No, probably hasn't hurt us so far. The Big 12 is definitely different. Last year, it hurt us a lot because in the first 3 games we played, we had a tight end that was converted from a wide receiver in Harrison that wasn't, I consider, to be a good tight end, but being in that tight end position, he made huge plays for us and actually won us games in overtime because he was in that tight end position. I think the tight end position isn't necessarily the key, being that we have an all-star world beater tight end. We need a tight end that can block very well and a tight end that has good hands and a tight end that can break tackles. But they don't have to be world beaters. It's just that position by itself, especially when you're running, 11, 12, and 13 personnel, where you're running one or more tight ends in the set, can be a backbreaker for teams that prepared for us being in 10 personnel with 4 wideouts all the time. I mean, when you start bringing in a different formation altogether, it really kind of screws up the defensive strategy. So I'm just going to leave that out there, but Cincinnati does that. Cincinnati has the balance that it's kind of hard to defend. So that's something that we need to key on. Running back Corey Kiner, 598 yards, 5.6 yards per carry. They also have a guy by the name of Pryor who's 10 yards per average carry. He doesn't carry the ball as often. but at 10 yards per carry, he's definitely somebody that we need to look out for. And Xavier Henderson being their big wide receiver, 12.9 yards per carry. They actually have two wide receivers that have averaged between 17 and 19 yards per catch. Sorry, I keep saying carry, yards per catch. So overall, number 22 in third down conversion. And the reason why I think looking at some of their past games is because they're so good on the short yardage kind of play, whether it be running or short throws or screens, that their third and is very short. So third and 1, third and 2, third and 3. So when they're in third down, they're usually less than 4 in their third down, which makes converting a lot easier, especially since their short game is very good. Their short game is off the chart good. So those are my keys right there. Is if you know what you're looking at, if you know who you're playing, if you know what they can do, if you know what they're good at, you can usually defend it very well. The good news is that our run defense is at the top of our game so far this year. Hold on a second. James Bond says, I told Love and Liberty to reach out to you. His live feed was extremely clear. He has some great content as well. Cool. Yeah, I'll look him up. Love and Liberty. I've never heard of him. Yeah, and I also changed the resolution on my phone too. I was trying to save battery, and I don't really care about that anymore. So Transforming says, people are overthinking this game. Like Arizona CU be fine. Transforming, that's a very good way. That's a very good thing to bring up, actually, because this is one of those games where I could be thinking about it either way. I could think Cincinnati's, we're going to steamroll them because we're at the top of our game right now compared to where we've been in the last 2 years. I think we're as good right now as we have been for the past 2 years. And Cincinnati could be exactly like Arizona. And this is exactly what I was saying. And so Transforming, we are on the same page. And that we may be putting too much into this and that we can steamroll them. But first of all, my mind doesn't really work that way because I keep thinking to myself, it's really easy to, I don't want to say look past a team, but not give them their due credit and respect them to the point where if they come out and punch early, because they come out of the gates pretty fast, and we are on our heels, we don't play good on our heels. We really don't. We have been better lately, but we play much better when we have control of the ball and we're not hugely behind. So I would say that I would err on the side of caution for myself anyway when I'm talking about it, and want to give Cincinnati at least some credit here. The short slants and deep ball are going to kill Cincinnati. I agree. Cincinnati's weakness is their secondary. Those are all good. Oh, DD Bus, $10 super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Enjoy the German food. Oh yeah. So that's going to get me a couple of war standards right there, man. I'm going to throw DD Bus. I'm going to throw a shout out to you after the fact. John the Liquidator said he is going tonight. Good. I've seen John there several times, especially last year. We almost always run into each other. So I wish him good luck. I wish we have a lot of good content creators out there. And I'm assuming I'm going to run into most of them tonight because we're all kind of a crew, as it were, covering CU football and giving it its light. But I'm going to get off now. Let me tell you what my live schedule is going to be. So I'm going to get to the stadium. I'm going to get to the campus probably about 2. We're probably going to do a walkthrough of the fall foliage. I haven't been there in a week, so I don't know if the trees have lost all of their leaves yet or not. But if not, we'll probably do a short one on that one. That'll probably be about 3:00. And then right at about 5:40, we're going to do the buff walk. So at 5:40 buff walk, put that down there. That's 5:40 Mountain. And then probably shortly after that, in fact, from the buff walk, we're going to walk over to FanFest. So that's going to be one long live. So I'll walk you through. Sunset's going to be happening right about that time too. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of clouds so that we get that pink hit right above the flat irons. It's usually clear in the evening, so that might be a little bit tough, but we're going to try that anyway. And then I'm going to stop there. And then at 7:00, I'm going to go live and I'm going to be down near the field so you can see kind of pregame activities going on. And then I'm going to do a post game from outside the stadium. I always get kicked out of the stadium, especially at night, which I understand, all those security and and cleaning crews and stuff like that need to get in and get out. So we're going to go live outside the stadium. I'm going to find some good light, and we're going to do a post-game live outside the stadium, and that's going to be directly after the game. So that's my live schedule. I'm going to be going live all day, doing all kinds of stuff. Please hang out with me, and I will see you in this live coming up here pretty soon. That's a wrap from Alpine Garage Sports. We'll see you in the next video.